So we are getting a new attention-seeking warrior this Wednesday, and she is a pretty cute waifu, I think most of us can agree. The water element is in quite an awkward state, where it's been left pretty far behind the rest of the herd. Is a new mommy waifu capable of changing things? We all know how expensive it can be to pull for cost 100 units. Keeping everything in mind, is it worth going after her? Let's take a look. Perrene is a strike-based unit, who can fulfill the role of a physical bruiser. Strike is still a rather underutilized damage type, which means it's still pretty difficult to defend against, or to set up resistance against. If you were watching the recent, official PvP competition, you must have seen the final, in which Snow, who also plays the role of a bruiser, nearly destroyed Celis, who is a very commendable tank. Now, Snow might be a decent attacker, but it's more like strike-type damage is just hard to mitigate. So our new girl already has something going for her. Now, let's take a look at what else she brings to the table. Her TMR is pretty interesting, as it allows your team to increase CT on critical hits, which means you get your turns quicker. We'll talk more about this in a little bit. The ability can only be cast once, though, which makes it pretty bad for guild battles. But you can still use it against youngster Joey in arena or class matches or something. She has a nice range of passives, which allow you to build her in a variety of ways. You can even utilize her as somewhat of a pseudo-evasion unit, if you want to catch some people off guard. Or you can give her extra movement, which could be pretty important on certain kinds of maps. The agility buff is pretty nice, though. Let's talk about that for a moment. One of her counters increases CT. She has a couple of skills, which also restore her CT. We've already talked about her TMR, which also helps her with that, as well. So you can see that she really wants to take as many turns as possible. With a high enough agility, you could even see this girl take multiple turns in a row, and really put the beat down on an opposing unit, by chaining with her own attacks. The attacking skills could also allow her to skip movement, which would save even more CT. She has access to an interesting buff, which allows her to get a massive attack boost, but only as long as her HP is above 70%. I would imagine that it would be kind of hard to keep the boost, but it's still pretty cool if you can manage to keep it. The buff also does other nice stuff as well. She does have access to a guaranteed hit skill, but it's single target only. Considering evasion is the main gimmick for fire element teams moving forward, you will need all the help you can get. I wouldn't say that she is a game changer of a unit, but she has plenty of cool things to play around with. As for team building, Astrius and Celis are the central figures of a good water team, at the moment. The third slot is more situational, with a number of characters who could potentially fill that spot, depending on what you feel like doing. Our new girl could slot in alongside Astrius and Celis, and form a somewhat decent team. Right now, you could also utilize her alongside Snow and Elia, for a fun, but reasonably strong team. But these are not the team I had in mind, when I said that Perrene has potential. You see, in the future, we will get another cost 100 water unit, who will allow the water element to gain more of a foothold. After the Dream Enhancement update, a strong water composition would feature Perrene, the upcoming water unit and Ares, from the Final Fantasy VII collaboration. Or Summer Elsarel could also be a very viable third unit, and you will be able to see some pretty sweet synergy in that team. They will have a lot of passive healing effects, so plenty of survivability, especially keeping skills like Re-Raise and Immortal Spirit in mind. Although you can't really say it will be at the very top of the meta, or anything like that, but it would be a pretty threatening team, when set up properly. But that's not all, it won't be long before strike-based teams would gather some strong momentum, and Perrene could be a solid part of that, as well. So she might not be too much of a threat at the moment, but she has the potential to become one in the future. Well, that's all I have for you at the moment, children. If you have any input regarding her, or if I missed something important, do let me know in the comments. But more importantly, have a good day. Take good care of your organs, and may the light of the crystals guide you.